प्रसाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी प्रश्चात देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिचार्य अष्टोत्तर divine grace ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिचार्य अष्टोत्तर divine grace ऐसी भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती स्वयं महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर धाम की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरा धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा मई जमुना मई की जय, तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय, समवेत भक्त की जय। All glories assembled yogis, all glories assembled yogis, all glories to the assembled yogis, all wish you and Gauranga.
Welcome everybody to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Today we're starting with Srimad Bhagavatam 4.22.9. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Beginning with 422.9, I will begin. Naiva laksayate lokan paryatato piyan yata sarva dusham sarva atmanan yasya hetava. Translation. Prithu Maharaj continued. Although you are traveling in all planetary systems, people cannot know you, just as they cannot know the Supersoul, although he is within everyone's heart as the witness of everything. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot understand the Supersoul. Purport. In the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Muyanti Yat Surya. Great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, and Chandra are sometimes bewildered trying to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It so happened that when Krishna was present on this planet, Lord Brahma and King Indra also mistook him. And what to speak of great yogis or jnanis who conclude that the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is impersonal. In the same way, great personalities and Vaishnavas like the Four Kumaras are also invisible to ordinary persons, although they are traveling all over the universe in different planetary systems. When Sanatana Goswami went to see Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could not be recognized by Chandrasekhar Acharya. The conclusion is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart, and his pure devotees, the Vaishnavas, are also traveling all over the world. But those who are under the modes of material nature cannot understand the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The source of this cosmic manifestation, or the Vaishnavas. It is said, therefore, that one cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead or a Vaishnava with these material eyes. One has to purify his senses and engage in the service of the Lord. Then gradually one can realize who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and who is a Vaishnava. Guru Maharaj and others, would you like to comment?
Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahisham Datati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Krishna Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanta He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Lipriye Vanshako Patarubhyascha Kripa Sindhopye Vacha Patitan Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare. Prithu Maharaj is continuing to glorify the four Kumars and express the rareness of meeting them, the rare good fortune of meeting them. People can't recognize such great Vaishnavas, even when the four Kumars went to Vaikuntha, the gatekeepers didn't recognize that these were glorious Vaishnavas. So that sometimes happens, that by the covering of material energy, we don't realize what great souls are there. But the Kumars are among the most exalted persons in the universe. If we just judge by external appearances, they're just four little kids. But for those who know, these are the most exalted sages. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami warns us in Upadeshamrita that one shouldn't see a Vaishnava in terms of external bodily appearance or apparent faults. Even the Ganga, to material vision, seems to have some faults, but the Ganga is always pure. In the same way, the Vaishnavas are always exalted, but our vision may be faulty. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in this verse, takes Atmanam differently. He says, people do not see the Kumars just as they do not see the soul, who is the witness of everyone, Sarvadrishan. Sarvadrik is taken, Srila Prabhupada reads it as the super soul, who's seated within the heart of every living being and seeing all activities. But here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur glosses Sarvadrik as the soul, who is the witness of everyone. Or to speak of ordinary people, even causes of the universe, like Brahma and Marichi, cannot see you. So someone might say, where does Prabhupada get Brahma and Shiva from this verse? Asyahetava, causes of the universe. So even these great persons, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, or Marichi, one of the primordial created beings, can't understand the glories of a Vaishnava, or can't even recognize a true Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Okay, for our next text, Madhupati Prabhu, are you available? Now we're on text 10. Also, Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, would you be able to take over hosting? Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Let me go to the text number 10 here. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Gurudas Jayadvaita Swami Namne Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatate Shatarine. Adhanapi te danya sadhavo griyamedina yat griha hi arha varyambu trina bhumishvara varaha. A person who is not very rich and is attached to family life becomes highly glorified when saintly persons are present in his home. The masters and servants who are engaged in offering the exalted visitors water, a sitting place and paraphernalia for reception are glorified, and the home itself is also glorified. Materially, if a man is not very rich, he is not glorious. And spiritually, if a man is too attached to family life, he is also not glorious. But saintly persons are quite ready to visit the house of a poor man or a man who is attached to material family life. When this happens, the owner of the house and his servants are glorified because they offer water for washing the feet of a saintly person, sitting places, and other things to receive him. The conclusion is that if a saintly person goes to the house of even an unimportant man, such a person becomes glorious by his blessings. It is therefore the Vedic system that a householder invite a saintly person in his home to receive his blessings. This system is still current in India. And therefore saintly persons, wherever they go, are hosted by the householders, who in turn get an opportunity to receive transcendental knowledge. It is the duty of a sannyasi, therefore, to travel everywhere just to favor the householders, who are generally ignorant of the values of spiritual life. It may be argued that all householders are not very rich, and that one cannot receive great saintly persons or preachers because they are always accompanied by their disciples. If a householder is to receive a saintly person, he has to receive his entourage also. It is said in the Shastras that Durvasa Muni was always accompanied by 60,000 disciples, and that if there was a little discrepancy in the reception, he would be very angry and would sometimes curse the host. The fact is that every householder, regardless of his position or economic condition, can at least receive saintly guests with great devotion and offer them drinking water, for drinking water is available always. In India, the custom is that even an ordinary person is offered a glass of water if he suddenly visits, and one cannot offer him foodstuff. And one cannot offer him foodstuff. If there is no water, then one can offer a sitting place, even if it is on a straw mat. And if one has no straw mat, he can immediately cleanse the ground and ask the guest to sit there. Supposing that a householder cannot even do that, then with folded hands they can simply receive the guest, saying welcome. And if he cannot do that, then he should feel very sorry for his poor condition and shed tears and simply offer obeisances with his whole family, wife and children. In this way, he can satisfy any guest, even if the guest is a saintly person or a king. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Yeah. Here Prithu Maharaj is the king receiving the four Kumaras and nicely serving them. And it is mentioned that a person who is not very rich and is attached to family life becomes highly glorified when saintly persons are present in his home. The saintly persons, not for their own benefit, but to benefit the householders. They visit houses, householders, and give them that good fortune of their visit by, the householders taking that good fortune should serve them. And when the saintly persons comes, if they come with an entourage, they should also serve the entourage along with the saintly person. Right. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport has nicely given that, okay, what should what should the householder do to serve the saintly person? They should wash their feet, give them a sitting place, and if they cannot do any of the things, at least they should then feel bad about the poor condition and bow down to the saintly person, right? And shed tears offering obeisances with his whole family, wife and children, right? Because they were not able to satisfy the guest. This is what I know. Even Atiti Deva Bhava, an ordinary guest, what to talk about a saintly person. No, an ordinary guest should also be received. Atiti Deva Bhava, Atiti means those who uh, did not come as an invited guest, even if they are uninvited, you should receive them because they have come. Right. So when a saintly person comes, care should be more we serve the saintly person. It's for the benefit for the householder that he will get purified. Right. It's meant this example is there about Durvasa Muni and his 60,000 followers whom Duryodhan guided to have them go to the Pandavas, knowing that Durvasa Muni is short-tempered and the Pandavas do not have means to receive them, and he will curse them. And as soon as Durvasa Muni came with his entourage, Yudhishthira Maharaj was ready to serve him and the entourage. And humbly requesting that, okay, if they want to go and take a bath first. So Durvasa Muni and all his disciples went to take a bath. And in the meantime, they had this Akshay Patra container given Draupadi had, that in that Patra, if till the last morsel of grain is remaining there, it will provide unlimited amount of preparations, unlimited amount of milk. But they had just honored their prasadam. And Draupadi could not find a single morsel of grain there. And they were in anxiety. They know how are they going to serve Durvasa Muni and his followers. And Lord Krishna, understanding the situation, immediately comes there and finds in that container one morsel of grain, and he honors that. And the moment he honors it, Durvasa Muni as well as his 60,000 followers, they all feel that they're completely full. And they won't be able to honor any more prasadam if they go to Yudhishthira Maharaj's place. So they go away from there, saying that it will be an insult to Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas if they serve prasadam to saintly person and now they won't be able to honor that. In that way, Lord Krishna saves the Pandavas, protects the Pandavas. But you see that as far as the Pandavas were concerned, they were completely ready to serve with whatever means they had, with all humility in front of the Durvasa Muni and all his followers. Right. So that should be the mood. Yeah. Guru Maharaj would like to.
Thank you, Madhupati. We have the instance that Krishna was traveling with some sages and received two invitations, one from Shrutadev, a simple Brahmin, and another from Bahulashva, a great king. So Lord Krishna, in order to accept both invitations, expanded himself in two. And the sages also expanded themselves, and they accepted both invitations. So at the king's palace, they were received in royal fashion and fed in royal fashion. And at Shrujadev's, they were received very simply. The Brahmin and his wife gave them little mats to sit on, straw mats, and gave them some water, and then gave them some simple rice and dal, I remember, that they cooked themselves. And then at the palace, they'd been received with dancing girls and so on. So at the home of the Brahmin, Shrutadev and his wife danced for the sages, just celebrating their presence. In this way, the Lord was satisfied on both sides, and the sages also. So this is Vedic culture, to receive even an ordinary person with respect, to say nothing of saintly person. We had experience on Padayatra. At one time, we'd been traveling up and down a hilly area. It was so hilly that even the oxen couldn't pull the cart anymore, and so devotees were pulling the cart with the deities. And finally, we got to some place, and everybody was just exhausted, and we just fell out on some grass lying on the sides of the road, some lawn. And there were some huts there, some simple people. This was even not in a village, between villages. There were some huts there. From one hut near where I and a few others had just fallen out on the ground. A lady came out, and she brought some little sitting mats for each of us. And then she went back into her little hut. And then she came out again with some water, little steel cups of water, and put those down next to us. And then she went back into her hut and came back out again with some fruit for all the devotees. And then she went back into her hut and came back with some agarbatti, which she put in the ground, some lighted incense. So in this way, although she was, a simple living, and not even in the village, outside the village, but she was able to provide such a generous reception for all the devotees. No one had to ask where we've been traveling. Could you give us some water? Of course, without being asked, she provided everything. So this is the nature of cultured people. You'd think, oh, living in a village, this is a place where there's no culture. No, they're highly cultured person, although living in the village. And in the cities, someone told me the story. A young girl, I think devotee girl, was telling me she'd gone to an apartment building to see a friend, and the friend wasn't back yet. So she was standing in the hallway, and one of the neighbors opened the door and saw that she was standing there and sort of quizzed her. What are you doing here? No, I'm waiting to see such and such person. All right, and closed the door. And that was it, like, all right, at least if you're not a thief, then you can stay there out in the hall. But in India, she said, the person would have said, oh, come wait in my flat, and would have provided some water and some, would have had a nice reception. But they left her standing out in the hall for like half an hour or so. as long as you're not stealing from my house, all right, you can stay in the hall. So this is the difference between cultured and uncultured. A cultured person receives even an uninvited guest as a representative of good fortune, and an uncultured person just the opposite. So here it's said that even a poor person, adhana, becomes danya, a wealthy person, or even a person who is a grihameti. Grihameti means a person really stuck in householder life, becomes a sadhu, a saintly person, just by honoring devotees. Hare Krishna.
So in the chat box, Saraswati Mata said, Param Pujya, Gurudev, and all the Vaishnava, since even great demigods fail to recognize a genuine Vaishnava, then what to speak of the common man? Therefore, it can also be easy to dupe people into thinking someone is a real Vaishnava, and in order not to commit offense, we just accept people who actually may not be Vaishnava. So how can we avoid falling for imposters?
Better to fall for imposters. The two incidents come to mind. One is that when Arjuna was visiting Dwarka, he became infatuated by Subhadra Devi, and therefore posed as a sadhu, posed as a sannyasi in order to get closer to her. He was invited by her family, and they were feeding him very nicely and so on. So even though he was an imposter, they fed him. And of course, he kidnapped Subhadra, and Lord Balaram was angry, and Krishna pacified him. But that went on. But the other is that Prabhupada's father used to receive saintly persons at his home. Every day he would invite them for lunch, one or another saintly person. And all right, some of them may not have been very strict Vaishnavas, whatever. But all right, we'll, as they say, err on the side of caution. Rather than fail to receive a Vaishnava, we'll receive even the Sudha Vaishnavas. When Krishna and Arjuna and Bhima went to beg charity from Jarasandha, we're Brahmins, come to your house, please give us some charity. Jarasandha knew, these are not Brahmins, look at them. They're built like solid, and I can see bow marks on their shoulders. No way are these Brahmins. But anyway, they've humbled themselves by pretending to be Brahmins. I'll still give them charity. So even if we give a reception to a half Vaishnava or pseudo Vaishnava or fallen Vaishnava, all right, still no harm. No harm. Of course, one should try to know what is what, but better, all right. This person has come dressed like a Vaishnava. All right, we'll give them a reception. Otherwise, we'd become hyper critical, hyper discriminating, and we wind up offending Vaishnavas. So better, even a poorly educated Brahmin, or even some poorly educated Vaishnava, or not the best of Vaishnavas, but let's give reception. Otherwise, we become as poor-hearted grihastas. We find one or another reason not to receive the person who comes. And then instead of becoming sadhus, we remain grihametis. Oh, it's going to cost this much to feed him, or who knows what he might be. But no. That lady who came and received us, she didn't know really what we were. We were just dressed in saffron, and we were foreigners even. But still so pure-hearted. There was another incident. We were again on Padayatra. While traveling, the only place along the road where we could stop to take breakfast was a Christian ashram, like a Christian nunnery, actually, I think. But anyway, a Christian ashram. And there's just no other place. So we came and asked if we could stop there and have our class and so on in their courtyard. And they looked at the deity card, and they looked at the whole thing, and they consulted, and no, we couldn't have our class there. This was a Christian ashram. We were obviously not Christians, and we were coming with deities and so on. But still, yes, you can have your breakfast here. We may not have been Christians, but you can have your breakfast here. Although they were, a little, what would you say, not 100% sure what they should do and how much they should let us do, because we weren't members of the Christian faith. Still, yes, you can have your breakfast here. And then when we were having breakfast, the nuns, the sisters, they wound up serving prasadam for us. They were, we brought our own prasadam and so on, but they were serving water and so on, because after all, they were Indian ladies. So they were cultured. They knew that this is what we do as a saintly person. Or you can take it that they were good Christians. Could take it that way too. But my interpretation is that this was their culture. They were whatever religion they might be following. They were trained in the culture that this is how we have to receive an uninvited guest, to say nothing of saintly person. We have to serve them.
Okay, let's see the chat box. Pritipurna Madhvi Mataji said, Hare Krishna Maharaj, in verse 9, in translation, Srila Prabhupada mentioned even the Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot understand the super soul. In Sanskrit verse, which would translate to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva.
Maybe you joined late.
Translate to Lord.
We talked about that. Asya Hetava, the causes of the universe. There at the end of the verse.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. Yes, I joined late. Thank you.
And Sarvasi Mata says, Guru Maharaj, when you came to Vancouver and started a Padyatra, we joined too, including my school age niece and nephew. They got so thirsty and we thought we may not be able to continue. When suddenly a lady came out of the house and gave the children juice boxes. We were so surprised, but so happy because we wanted to finish the Padyatra.
Yes. This is human culture, to be generous in this way. Householders should be generous.
Madhupati said Narad Muni is in his previous life as a son of Maid Saron, and he served the Mahabhagavatas.
Yes.
And Praveen Prabhu said it is the duty of a sannyasi. Is a saintly person here being referred to sannyasi only, What about the Vanaprastha, Brahmachari and Grihastha being received by Grihasthas?
Yes, anyone should be respected, but the saintly persons who travel are typically the sannyasis. That's their duty. It's the duty of the sannyasi to travel about just to benefit the householders. But a brahmachari may also, or a vanaprastha. So one shouldn't be a poor-hearted grihastha. No, I'm sorry, we only respect sannyasis here. So we look at your dhoti to see whether you're a sannyasi, and if you're not, then sorry, but no. Any guest, that's Madhupati quoted, Atiti Devo Bhava. It's an honor to receive an uninvited guest and to treat him as the representative of the Supreme Personality of God. In other traditions, this is there also, by the way. Other religious traditions have similar injunctions.
There is a lack of trust. What if the uninvited person is received and create a problem in the house? Not everyone can be received.
That's a risk one should take. If the risk is really high, I mean, here in South Africa, you can risk your life by opening your gate. But still, one can, a cultured person will say something to the effect that, I'm sorry, I can't open the gate, but here's something. And, if it's really that sort of a situation where you think that your life may literally be at risk, still you can try to do something to satisfy the visitor that, all right, they might be a thief or murderer or whatever, but they might not. So let's try to satisfy them as best we can, and not be negligent. But generally, we take that risk that, all right, an uninvited guest may be a problem, but otherwise there's nothing to it. We just receive everyone who comes, and everyone's going to be great, and there's never going to be a problem. But no, even a saintly person might cause a problem. Durvasa Muni might curse us. Even if we feed him nicely, he's known to be irritable, or whatever it might be. But it's our duty. We don't know what kind of people these are. Atiti Deva, Atiti, uninvited guest. That means we don't know him. Who knows what's in his background? But still we'll receive him respectfully. He may be a demon, he may be whatever. Still we'll try to receive him nicely. That's our duty.
Okay, I would like to invite Panchatattva Prabhu. If you can please read number 11.
I would like to thank you. I'm driving. I'm all ears.
Oh, you are driving. Okay, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Saraswati Mata, please.
Vyalalya druma vetishav artiktakhila sampadaha yadgrahastirta padyaya padatirta vivarjitaha. Translation: On the contrary, even though full of all opulence and material prosperity, any householder's house where the devotees of the Lord are never allowed to come in, and where there is no water for washing their feet, is to be considered a tree in which all venomous serpents live. Purport: In this verse, the word Tirthapadaya indicates devotees of Lord Vishnu or Vaishnavas. As far as Brahmanas are concerned, in the previous verse, the mode of reception has been already described. Now, in this verse, special stress is being given to the Vaishnavas. Generally, the sannyasis, or those in the renounced order of life, take trouble to enlighten the householders. There are Ekadandi sannyasis and Tridandi sannyasis. The Ekadandi sannyasis are generally followers of Sankaracharya and are known as Mayavadi sannyasis, whereas the Tridandi sannyasis are followers of the Vaishnava acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and so on, and they take trouble to enlighten the householders. Ekadandi sannyasis can be situated on the platform of pure Brahman because they are aware that the spirit soul is different from the body, but they are mainly impersonalists. The Vaishnavas know that the absolute truth is the Supreme Person and that the Brahman effulgence is based on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 14.27, Brahmano hi pratishtitaham. The conclusion is that Tirthapadya refers to Vaishnavas. In the Bhagavatam 1.13.10, there is also another reference, Tirtha kurvanti tirthani. Wherever he goes, a Vaishnava immediately makes that place a tirtha, a place of pilgrimage. The Vaishnava sannyasis travel all over the world to make every place a place of pilgrimage by the touch of their lotus feet. It is mentioned here that any house which does not receive a Vaishnava in the manner already explained in the previous verse is to be considered the residential quarters of venomous serpents. It is said that around the sandalwood tree, which is a very valuable tree, there is a venomous serpent. Sandalwood is very cold, and venomous serpents, because of their poisonous teeth, are always very warm, and they take shelter of the sandalwood trees to become cooler. Similarly, there are many rich men who keep watchdogs or doormen and put up signs that say, do not enter, trespassers not allowed, beware of the dog, etc. Sometimes in Western countries, a trespasser is shot, and there is no crime in such shooting. This is the position of demoniac householders, and such houses are considered to be the residential quarters of venomous snakes. The members of such families are no better than snakes because snakes are very much envious, and when that envy is directed to the saintly persons, their position becomes more dangerous. It is said by Janagya Pandit that there are two envious living entities, the snake and the envious man. The envious man is more dangerous than a snake because a snake can be subdued by charming mantras or by some herbs, but an envious person cannot be pacified by any means. Om Gyanantimirindasya Gyananjana Shalikaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Srila Prabhupada has distinguished between the Ekadandi sannyasi and we know that the Ekadandi sannyasis, followers of Shankaracharya, are Mayavadis, and we've also learnt that that their realization of the absolute truth is still in the preliminary stage because they have understood only the impersonal aspect of Krishna and have actually committed offenses due to denying that the absolute truth is in actuality a supreme person with all unique qualities, pastimes, etc. So Tridandi sannyasis are, of course, Vaishnavas and followers of the four bona fide Vaishnava sampradayas, and they, of course, know all the three features of Krishna. So they have complete knowledge of Krishna and his all his features, and of course are engaged in serving the mission of Krishna, which is to reclaim fallen souls. Certainly followers of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are dedicated to that mission. And another quote that comes to mind is Natirtha pada sevaya jivanopi mrutyu hisa. Although a person is apparently living and breathing, if he does not serve the lotus feet of great devotees, he is considered dead. So wherever these great souls, devotees, Vaishnavas travel, it becomes a place of pilgrimage. thinking of a great devotee, Gujarati, Narsi Mehta, who was a great poet, wrote many, many famous songs. And one of his lines, famous songs glorifying Vaishnavas, and one of his lines was Tirtha Jena Tanmare, which means that the holy pilgrimage site actually is within the body of the Vaishnava itself. And we've heard also from the past verses where Srila Prabhupada talks about how wherever these sannyasis, Vaishnavas basically go, no matter how polluted and contaminated a place may be, because of their presence, that place becomes purified, and it actually becomes a place that we should visit and hear from these Vaishnavas. And of course, Srila Prabhupada has talked about those very, very extremely degraded souls that actually have no concept about these exalted, compassionate Vaishnavas, and how their nature is always so predisposed to showing compassion, giving them knowledge to so that they could become purified and start their spiritual journey, become Krishna conscious. They just have no idea of this mercy of the Vaishnavas, and therefore they close their doors, not only of their house, but their hearts and their head. So Srila Prabhupada has compared them to these vicious snakes who only know one thing, how to strike and bite and spew venom. So whether it's done, whether these so-called demoniac behavior is due to aggressive nature, anger, envy, spite, harsh speech, it doesn't really matter. The fact is that these people are filled with so much bitterness and false pride, even going as far as using animals like dogs and bodyguards and security guards and whatever, just to drive the devotees out, all of which is simply going to just propel them to hell. And Srila Prabhupada talks about how snakes, as envious as they are, of course, they're all guided by their animalistic instinct. And they can be subdued by, well, playing the music, bina, we call it, and they could be controlled with that, or as Srila Prabhupada said, mantras, but nothing really can be done for an envious person who's so puffed up, thinking themselves so important. Wherever they go, everyone else seems insignificant. And especially, I know for myself, when we've gone on different visits, knocking on doors, sometimes you can't even get as far as the gate. And I myself am very scared of dogs, because when I was a little girl, I saw my mother, a vicious, out of control Alsatian that just came and attacked my mother and bit her. So I'm very scared of dogs, even if they seem friendly. But visiting these homes to try and distribute books and talk to them, I remember one house that we went to. It was an Indian family, and they were so incensed that we had come. And while they were wanting to finish their Indian soap, one of the soap serials that was on the TV, and they were just so incensed that we had come knocking, trying to talk about Krishna, even though they claimed that, oh, we know everything about Krishna, go away, sort of thing. Yes, so these things happen. Maharaj Shri, if you have some comments, Hare Krishna.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, houses in which the sons and wife shower sharp words like a snake's poison are like trees which are the home of snakes. No one, out of fear, touches even the shadows of such householders. Though they have abundant wealth, if their houses are devoid of water for washing the feet of Vaishnavas, Tirthapadiya, those houses are like trees where snakes reside. There's also a verse in the 5th canto. A householder who receives guests or visitors with cruel glances, as if to burn them to ashes, is put into the hell called Paryavartana, where he is gazed at by hard-eyed vultures, herons, crows, and similar birds, which suddenly swoop down and pluck out his eyes with great force. So one doesn't want to be that kind of householder. It's the duty of householders to give charity. They become purified. Householder life has its, what should we say, it can be conducive to material attachments, but one becomes purified by giving charity. So if instead one is looking at guests as if they were intruders and intruders, and then this is condemned, then your home is like a sandalwood tree. A sandalwood tree is very valuable, but your valuable home, your costly mansion is like a sandalwood tree, but a sandalwood tree in which which is inhabited by serpents. Hare Krishna.
Taravali Mataji said, Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances, or with Srila Prabhupada. What about if we are a bit of a loner by nature or reserved person who doesn't do so well around people? Should we eventually put this aside and still invite people, devotees, into the home to serve them? Say in the case of something like having social anxiety.
Yes, that I'm a loner, so when Vaishnavas come to the door, I say, sorry, but I'm a loner. Sorry, but I don't get on well with people. Sorry. Yes, we should receive people. Not now, if I'm not very social-minded, I may not go terribly out of my way to find people to invite. Even that's actually the Vedic injunction that the householders, before eating, should call out on the street 3 times. Anyone's hungry, come on. One devotee I recently interviewed told me that they did that as householders. The first person who came was Dinabandhu Prabhu. So they felt very fortunate. So, yes, actually, we should invite, and if not invite, then certainly those who come without invitation, we should receive that. All right, I may be inconvenienced, I may feel, what's the word, anxious, but still, I'll receive them. This is my duty. I'll do my best. It's understood. This is not our routine. Routinely every day, we have our lunch, we have our household affairs. Now, out of nowhere, this person has come. This is not the usual thing, but yes, this is my duty. Someone has come, and we don't know how fortunate we may become. If that's a saintly person, even sometimes not a saintly person, may bring good fortune. And even a person who doesn't appear to be good, that great a person or source of good fortune. All right, but it's my duty, I'll receive them. And then I become fortunate that way.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We are coming at the closing, and I would like to invite Krishna Kaunteya Prabhu.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Anita Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi, Pasatya Deshtarne, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Sri Guru and Guranga Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayadvaita Swami Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Krishna Kamte Prabhu, for your nice kirtan.
Hare
And
Krishna.
on behalf of all the member of the Zoom, I would like to thank Maharaj for giving us your audience. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
His Holiness
Pandit Prabhu, and thank you
Jayadvaita
to
Maharaj ki.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki Jai,
Jai.
Gaur Premanande.
Hare
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.